lineup of Sean Kemp in the middle. So he will now try to beat MUTUMBO, the bigger Nugget, with speed. He has the smaller Kemp in the middle against the Kempe MUTUMBO, and right now forcing MUTUMBO to guard Kemp. Loose ball, and there is MUTUMBO in the crowd, and the Nuggets have it. Chris Jackson leads it out. Marcus Liberty, baseline, jumper. Ellis falling between the legs of Nate McMillan, and the Sonics are coming out. Ricky Pierce into the hands of Kemp. Kemp now picked up by Chris Jackson. Ricky Pierce getting some assignments down. In it goes on the mismatch, and Kemp draws the foul from MUTUMBO, who's helping out. Chris Jackson was left all alone, and very quickly the Sonics recognized that.
Well, one of the problems that Seattle presents to anybody, they've got interchangeable players that can basically play a number of positions. The Nuggets are going to have to recognize on the break as to who is covering whom. That time, CJ got locked on Kemp in the blocks, and obviously that's not going to work.
Sean Kemp, first foul shot, hard off the back of the rim, no good. The Sonics lost the first 3 games of this road trip, Charlotte, Atlanta, and New Jersey in overtime. Came back to beat Washington and Detroit. In that Detroit game, Kemp 22 points, 13 rebounds, 5 steals. And this game remains scoreless as Kemp misses the first 2 foul shots. They spread it out for Chris Jackson. He has perhaps the best defensive guard on him in Gary Payton. That's what they're saying here in Seattle. Here is Pierce. 6-man award, 2 seasons. They move the ball around, thrown by McMillan. But there is Kemp, who throws another one. And it's finally ripped down by Ellis to the Nuggets on the move. Williams darting away from Payton, who stripped him. 3-on-1. Pierce, blocked by Ellis. Oh, Kemp throws another one. The Sonics make Payton in the opening minute. Jackson, all alone is Liberty. He pulls the trigger. No. Back and forth we go, and no points on the board. Here's Pierce into the hands of Kemp. McKee in the crowd. And it's the dependable Derek McKee who finally sinks one.
I'll tell you, I can't think of the last time I saw a team miss that many layups consecutively.
2-0. And I think we have 2 teams that are pooped already. We've played just 2 minutes. Marcus Liberty will try again, way off the mark, but MUTUMBO got a piece of it. Liberty in the crowd. Jackson, jumper, quick.
Marcus has been very active so far in the early going. That time a good decision to kick it out to Chris Jackson, who's all by himself in 17.
Gary Payton, the number 2 pick in the draft, followed by Chris Jackson, number 3. And there's the foul in the backcourt. Ricky Pierce preventing Jackson from a uncontested layup, or would have it been an uncontested slam dunk. There's the brain trust now for the Nuggets. In the absence of Dan Issel, who is sick with a stomach virus, Gene Littles and Mike Evans. Gene Littles, of course, no stranger to the bench. Assistant for many years and also a head coach with Charlotte. And he takes the reins with the assist from Mike Evans. George Karl, who Gene Littles used to work with in Cleveland. Reggie Williams from deep, and the Nuggets have taken a 4-2 lead. Payton reaching over as MUTUMBO, but grabbing it away is Kemp. Rejected by Ellis. Kemp finding out that the Kempe has some help. Jackson now with Payton looking at him. No look past Ellis. And he's got it.
Oh, got the left hand, too. Nice move as LaFonso got his body inside with nice left hand going up.
LaFonso Ellis showing so many different moves inside. McKee, and it's foul number 2 on Dikembe Mutombo. So Mutombo in quick foul trouble. Only 3 minutes into the game.
Tough matchup for Dikembe Mutombo because McKee is much quicker, and the block's able to spin the baseline, and Dikembe's going to have to back off Derek McKee even down low.
He'll be looking for Sean Kemp with Mutombo watching him. Darting inside is Pierce, and he is fouled.
You want to force Ricky Pierce to beat you off the dribble, but you don't want to do it with LaFonso Ellis playing defense. And again, the Nuggets get caught in the switch. The mismatch, not doing a good job of picking up the right people coming down.
The 11-year veteran, second best foul shooter in the league. And Tommy Hammonds, the new acquisition for the Nuggets, picked up off of waivers from the Charlotte Hornets, replaces Dikembe Mutombo. And the Nuggets are forced now to go to the smaller lineup. They may be better off. against this Seattle lineup. But as far as George Karl is concerned, he wants to get MUTUMBO out of there, and he has succeeded. So Tommy Hammonds, who has seen quite a bit of action in his first 2 games. Liberty, Ellis, stripped away by Pierce. The Sonics always slashing, looking for the steals, one of the top in the league in that category. McKee for 3. And it's Denver ball. McKee has hit 33 three-pointers this season in 84 attempts. And he got it going for the Sonics against Denver the last time here when he hit 3 in the second half. Nuggets ball. Last time Nuggets were on the road in Utah, played one of their best games of the year. The Sonics are high in steals in the season, and you see they have 2 players in the top 10. The veteran Nate McMillan, always a presence in that category. Jackson the double team. It leaves Ellis open. A man of many moved inside. And Ellis is showing you some of them here tonight, and he is hitting that shot consistently. He's becoming very difficult to stop. Payton with Ellis right up on him, and this foul is the underneath man, Marcus Liberty.
Well, you have to stop the ball at the top of the key, and Marcus, again, in the switch, has to reach in as Payton goes around him. Nuggets have not done a good job realizing as to the matchups they have defensively when running back on defense. And that's the advantage now of a team that has interchangeable parts. They got guys who can play so many different positions. It's tough to match up.
And quite frankly, that's exactly what the Denver Nuggets are also becoming. Interchangeable parts once they get Macon back, stiff in health, good health. And now the addition of Tommy Hammonds. There's so many different varieties that Dan Issel can use. Jackson, this is for 2. Fighting the boards, 2 Nuggets, and it goes out of bounds. So right now, Gene Littles has Hammonds in the middle with Ellis. Actually, Ellis is playing Kemp, and Hammonds is on McKee. Kemp goes to work. The double team, which is dangerous against Seattle. Now, that's not their best outside shooter, but McMillan of late has been hitting the shot. But when you have Ricky Pierce on the floor or Eddie Johnson coming off the bench, that's what happens when you have the open man. Rejection, but a goaltend, and Reggie Williams gets 2. You see the quick jumping action of Shawn Kemp.
That's exactly right. And also the quickness of Reggie Williams realizing the shot is off. Kemp is so quick off the floor. But that one will go for 2 for the Nuggets.
The Nuggets with a 2-point lead here in Seattle. The Sonics have lost just twice at home in 21 games. Kemp turnaround. And 2-3 Nuggets swarm the boards, and the foul is on Shawn Kemp.
That's a good job of Alfonso Ellis, bouncing Kemp a little bit further than he wanted to take that shot. Got the body into Kemp as he turned around. You can see right the hand in the face, and then a good job, good strength holding on to the basketball.
And it is becoming very evident that that man, number 20 for the Nuggets, is becoming the heart and soul of this ball club. Really adds an attitude to the rest of this team. McKee. And dealing out of bounds. Mr. Consistent Derek McKee, and working up a sweat is George Karl. He's weaving through is Williams, coast to coast for the finger roll.
Really tough to pressure Reggie Williams the length of the court because he's got the ability to go right past him.
6 points now for Reggie Williams, who has ascended to a new level of play over the course of the last 3 weeks. Here's a wild shot. McKee. Mr. Dependable, Derek McKee. He had 20 against Detroit in the win Sunday, 23 in the win over Washington on Saturday. He's a guy that George Karl says, even when he's playing bad, I want him on the floor. 2-point lead for the Nuggets. McKee is watching Ellis. Chris Jackson rejected by McKee, 3-on-1 with Payton in the middle. Now another Nugget. Williams gets back, and it's a turnover against Seattle.
Well, Seattle, a team that doesn't turn the basketball over that many times. Last time down, Chris has to realize that Derek McKee at 6'10" is going to be able to get that shot if you put it right in his face.
I think he turned around. He thought originally it was Gary Payton. 6 minutes into the first quarter. Seattle extending the Nuggets way outside. Hammond's tough shot. And Payton is there to grab him. And running is Seattle. Nate McMillan. He's a threat from downtown, and that's where he is now. Will he get the ball back? He does, but in the lane. Scoops to Kemp. Sean Kemp, who will be on the Western All-Star team and also be in his 4th consecutive slam dunk contest. This is a travel going against the Nuggets, LaFonso Ellis. Roll mounted at 12. The Nuggets tonight go up against the team with the 4th best record in the NBA. The Seattle SuperSonics under George Karl, who took over last February. They were 19-20 when he took over. They won 27-15 under George Karl. And this year they have won 30 and lost 15 games. Kemp maneuvers for the fadeaway. McMillan digs inside. Hammonds makes this happen. Chris Jackson to a flying Marcus Liberty. Payton now scrambles out for the Sonics. Into the hands of Kemp, who wheels and hits.
Well, it's kind of nice to have a guy 6'10" that can fill the lane and finish like Sean Kemp.
The Sonics have the lead. Coming down to 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Chris Jackson, great fake, leaves Payton in the dust. Kemp with trouble. Jackson takes it back. It's a 4-on-2. Jackson got it. So Chris Jackson stays with it and gets his 2nd hoop of the night. Nuggets tomorrow night in Los Angeles against the Lakers. Home Friday night against Philadelphia and Doug Moe's 76ers. Saturday night against Michael Adams and the Washington Bullets. Those 2 games at McNichols Arena. Jackson leading the charge for the Nuggets. Went to a cutting Ellis. It's off of Payton and out of bounds. First substitution for Seattle, and now George Karl looks to go big. He takes out Nate McMillan, puts in Michael Cage. So it's Cage, McKee up front with Kemp. This is the big lineup for the Sonics. MUTUMBO on the bench for the Nuggets with those 2 quick fouls. Jackson guarded by Cage makes the fake. Ellis from way outside. Tied at 14. McKee picked up by Jackson. And the big man goes to the little man inside. That's little 6'4" Gary Payton. Yeah, the Nuggets want a time. A full timeout taken by the Denver, 2nd straight time. Having their problems with the Nuggets. Robert Pack has checked in. Pass to Cunning Hammond, who smashes it home.
That's one thing Tom Hammond can do. He was explosive coming out of college. Got a good run to the basket, a nice pass, and that was an easy one.
And this one is knotted up at 16. Tom Hammond's stepping in. And it all kind of gets contagious the way the Nuggets are playing. He's really picked up the enthusiasm. And here's one man who has been a big reason the Nuggets have been on fire. Robert Pack, but that time the pass too low.
Number 8, Eddie Johnson.
Best 6th man of the year replaces another. Eddie Johnson goes in for Pierce. Here's Tom Hammonds getting into it. And that had tied the ball game at 16. That's where we stand now. Coming down to 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Payton being watched by Pack. They set up Eddie Johnson, the sniper.
Well, I tell you, he is so good at spotting up and getting into an open spot, getting the basketball and shooting. Very quick release. You want to force Eddie Johnson to put the ball on the court and move, not stand and shoot.
Pack back the other way. Watch Payton looking at him. Hammonds. Inside it goes to Marcus Liberty. Reggie Williams, who leads the Nuggets with 6 and gets special attention. Ellis strikes hard on Kemp. He beats him and he is fouled. And it's foul number 2 on Sean Kemp. So LaFonso has outscored Kemp 6-5, and Kemp now in foul trouble.
If you can handle the double team outside against the press, you'll get some easy shots inside. LaFonso breaking to the open spot. Reggie Williams takes care of the basketball, and thus they've got a 3-point opportunity. It's Bryant's 5th for his first chance tonight.
LaFonso has 2 big games for Ellis the last couple of weeks were against Chicago and against the Nets, in where he outscored Derek Coleman and also Horace Grant. Real breakthrough games to another level for LaFonso Ellis. And now he goes head-to-head with Kemp. And so far, it's LaFonso still on the floor and Kemp now on the bench. Nuggets with the ball. It's tied at 18 inside 2 minutes to go in the first quarter in Seattle. Hammonds turnaround, likes that shot, and he hits it.
Yeah, that is probably his favorite shot. Hammond spots up in the blocks, turns the quick release. Got a good look at the basket.
In his fourth season out of Georgia Tech, where he came out as the 9th pick in the first round. Number 17, Vincent Askew is checked in for Seattle. And the Sonics will have the ball. Minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Al Albert, along with Dave Logan. Right now, casually watching this game is George Karl, who formerly coached in Cleveland and Golden State. LaFonso Ellis gets his first rest. Goes out with 7 points and 4 boards. MUTUMBO has been sitting on the bench since 3 minutes of the first quarter with 2 fouls. McMillan wheels, fires, and Plummer has it knocked away and wrestled away by Stiff. Plummer, Liberty, and Hammonds up front. Stiff and Pack in the backcourt. Marcus Liberty, the only Nugget who has gone the distance so far. And banging it inside is Gary Plummer. Steal by Pack. He picks McMillan's pocket. Brings in against Askew and smashes it home. Testing that right hand. And the Nuggets zoom out to a 24-18 lead.
Yeah, without Gary Payton in the game, McMillan can play some point, but he's not nearly as efficient handling the basketball.
Well, McKee's basket snaps a Nugget streak of 8 straight points. Down to 40 seconds left. And once again, the Nuggets doing a job on the road the way they had the other night in Utah. There's a rejection by McKee. And now streaking out is Askew, puts it right into the hands of McMillan, who slides through. Plummer helps out on the inbound. Here's the time remaining. Nuggets at 20 seconds to shoot. Brian Stiff checks the clock. Denver by 2.
Pat should be able to take Askew off the dribble in the final shot.
Shot clock on the left, 5 seconds. Liberty darts inside. And it leaves Seattle enough time. Johnson beats the clock. That's a young pressure. Brian Stiff gets it to Pack, but throws it away.
And again, you got to come to the basketball. Stiff pinned on the sideline where you don't want to go against that press. You got to come get the ball from him.
The Sonics, with all their versatility and all the weapons and the talent, know that it's their defense that will get them there. Dana Barris, who is off the injured list, he had a sprained left calf and has missed the last 7 games. So he goes off the list, and Steve Scheffler was placed on the list. Eddie Johnson, a hot start, and that's what he's been of late. The last 7 games on a streak, 18 points a game and hitting at 54% from the floor. And you know where most of his shots come from, way outside. 2-point lead for the Sonics. They have scored 8 in a row. Illegal defense is called on Seattle. Eddie Johnson is nailed with the illegal D. Reggie Williams comes in, and Marcus Liberty goes out for the first time. Goes to the bench. Still looking for his first basket, 0 for 6 from the floor in the first quarter. So it's Pack and Stiff with MUTUMBO, Plummer, and Williams for the Nuggets. Pack looking for Plummer. Over Barros. The double team and another steal by the Sonics. The Nuggets over the weekend forced 27 turnovers from Sacramento and 26 for Dallas. But right now, the Sonics with the edge in that category. Barros last year led the league in 3-pointers. Eddie Johnson can't get anywhere with Williams, and he's rejected. And then the frustration of Eddie Johnson. The Nuggets want to see if they could come away with something on that.
Well, Reggie Williams did exactly what you have to do when you play Eddie Johnson. You get up on him and force him to dribble the basketball and beat you off the dribble. Just great defense. Anticipates the spin, gets it knocked right back in his face. It looked like Eddie Johnson swatted the ball standing out of bounds.
And they will give the ball to the Nuggets.
You can see there, Johnson threw the ball at Reggie Williams, but Eddie Johnson was already out of bounds.
So Denver gets the ball back. Great D by Reggie Williams. You know, Reggie started tonight's game on Ricky Pierce. The Nuggets looking for a way to stop Pierce. And it goes back to the Chicago game when Reggie Williams did a real nice job on Michael Jordan. And even at the other end, scored 28 points while he was concentrating on the defensive end. Eddie Johnson in traffic, weaves his way out. The Sonics lead it by 2. Barros gets away from Williams. Michael Cage inside to Askew. And MUTUMBO, before he falls out of bounds, no, says Gary Benson. He was already out before he passed the ball.
Now, good defense there by Robert Pack as he forced Askew into a tough shot. Dikembe Mutombo just could not quite gather himself and get rid of the basketball before he stepped out of bounds with that big right foot.
Sonics have called a 2 way out of the range of Michael Cage. Each team shooting 12 of 29 in that last timeout. Jackson back in along with Robert Pack. One bounce right in the hands of Reggie Williams, wrapped up by Eddie Johnson. MUTUMBO now muscling in on Cage. 5 on the shot clock. Robert Pack inside the Plummer. He better make it quick, and he does.
Good job of rotating the basketball. Sonics got caught in the switch. The Nuggets are patient. They make the extra pass, and Plummer knocks it down.
Tied at 26. The Nuggets looking for their 18th win. If they do, they'll actually tie Golden State. Push for Eddie Johnson. Golden State in that 9th position in the Western Conference. As crazy as it sounds, is Robert Pack looking for Plummer. Plummer tries again. Regrets that he didn't stop that first one. Askew runs out of space. Barros thinks about the 3. 10 seconds to shoot for Seattle. This is for 2. Cage gets away with a push. 3 minutes into the second quarter. Barros, quick release. And MUTUMBO holds it down. Nuggets look to tie it here. McMillan, who guards everybody from point guards to small forwards. Plummer, risky pass. Johnson was in front of MUTUMBO. Crazy as it sounds, if the Nuggets win tonight and could win tomorrow in Los Angeles, you know, with 38-odd games, 36 games to go, this team all of a sudden becomes in contention for playoff spots. Right now, they are 5 games behind the Lakers, who they'll meet tomorrow night. Lakers last night had to go to overtime at home to beat Dallas. They are really struggling.
And they got themselves in contention because they played excellent basketball at home, starting to become more competitive on the road.
And tonight, another example, especially after that Utah game last Wednesday, and right now against the Sonic Club, that's running teams off the floor here in Seattle. So the Sonics coming off a long road trip, 5 games in 7 days. A lot of teams will say this is almost like an extension of the road trip as they travel home for it. They played Sunday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday in Detroit. Plummer sweeping the board, Eddie Johnson. It's a 3-on-1. Jackson can't hold on, but there's Williams. Williams accelerates, and he beats Cage. And he is fouled. Reggie Williams with a burst of speed.
I talked about Reggie's ability to slash to the basket. You're saying fake the pass, Barrows goes in the air, and then Reggie takes one right across the cheek, but able to get the shot off the glass. Cage is not a great shot blocker. And Reggie takes it right to him strong.
Reggie Williams, who was drafted number 4 in the first round by the Los Angeles Clippers. Bernie Bickerstaff then with Seattle was hoping he would drop to 5 and he would have taken it. He ends up with Reggie in Denver. This foul is on Reggie Williams. Alfonso Ellis is back in. The Nuggets lead it 29-28. As Eddie Johnson steps to the foul line.
This copyright program is presented by the authority of the NBA and the Denver Nuggets and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written permission of the NBA, the Denver Nuggets, and Prime Sports Network is prohibited. Hope you follow that.
Eddie Johnson, a quick 10 points. Williams pass. Nuggets do not hold on. Now it is Payton, 3-on-2. Vincent Askew. Open man. Eddie Johnson, who is taking over. A dozen for Eddie Johnson off the bench. Now the Sonics now have a 3-point lead. Johnson is the only Sonic to score in this quarter. He has all 8 Seattle points. Williams got it. Right over McKee, and that's a tough shot. Reggie Williams with 11. This one is on Reggie Williams. Williams has his second personal foul, and the Sonics are now going to the hot hand in Eddie Johnson. And that's the man the Sonics want to get in foul trouble, Reggie Williams.
And Reggie right there signaling to the bench that he's got to have a blow. Tough matchup for McKee because Reggie's a little bit quicker than Derry McKee. On the other hand, Williams has to run all the way down court to try to check Eddie Johnson.
McKee now inside with LaFonso Ellis for the turnaround. 8 points now for Derek McKee. He's averaging 15 a game. And the Sonics lead it by 3. 6.5 to go in the first half. Askew, fine defensive player, number 17, now finds himself on Jackson. Moving him further from the basket. There's the fake, and Askew makes the block. Askew really finding himself a roll off the bench for Seattle. Johnson pulls the trigger. There's Askew, and he is fouled. And it could be on Reggie Williams. It is. Number 3 on Reggie.
Well, the shot off the rim, and Askew is inside position. Williams tries to reach over and grab the ball before he gets to Askew. But the strength of Vincent Askew causes Reggie Williams to sit down with his third foul.
Askew wants the ball against Pack. And there's another foul. The basket won't count. As Askew put the ball on the floor after the foul. Robert Pack at the 6 feet, a solid 180. And Askew testing. Many players don't know about the strength yet of Robert Pack. Tom Hammonds is in. Robert Pack goes out. So it's Vincent Askew, who was a second-round draft pick of Philadelphia. He was cut after 14 games and then went to the CBA where he played for George Karl at Albany and was a back-to-back MVP winner in the CBA. Jackson thought he had it.
Gary Payton has really improved his game in a lot of areas this year from last year, but he's shooting 49% from 45 last year, doing a better job distributing the basketball, and maybe the most improved player they have this year.
And he is making it happen for the Sonics. They feel as Payton goes, so goes Seattle. As a timeout is called by the Nuggets. Well, Nuggets fans who want the inside story on this team straight from the horse's mouth, watch the Dan Issel Show right here on Prime Sports with the coach along with Drew Goodman. You can get the inside word on the Nuggets and other NBA action as Coach Issel and Coach Goodman talk to players about the game and the latest happenings in the NBA. So see the Dan Issel Show following the 76ers game this Friday night only on Prime Sports Network. Gary Payton showing how tenacious he could be. I think he's inside the jersey of Marcus Libby. 5 minutes, 44 seconds to go in his first half. Jackson running out of options, finds Hammond, and you see the trapping defense, and that scores for the Sonics. Eddie Johnson is going, gone. The Sonic defense has strangled the Nuggets, and now it's a 9-point Seattle lead.
That's the 10th turnover by the Nuggets. We talked about the importance of taking care of the basketball.
There it is again. Payton walks in. And the Nuggets will have to call another timeout. The Sonic defense trying to pull the court. They averaged 11 a game, and there's still 5:12 to go in the second quarter. Liberty cuts between two Sonics. Scott Hastings is in and almost drills it from the outside. So the Nuggets looking for the smarts of Hastings to maybe get him out of some trouble on the trapping defense of Seattle. a call against LaFonso Ellis. So Ellis gets his second personal, and Ricky Pierce checks back in. Cold night so far for Pierce, hot night for Eddie Johnson. George Karl can't miss because he knows he always has one of the two on the floor. And he's got the hot hand of Johnson tonight.
So we talked about the key word, I think, for Seattle is versatility. You've got so many players that can hurt you from different spots in the court. He can play them together. He can spot them. He can bring them off the bench. A lot of options for George Karl.
He says it's success by committee. Somebody steps up each night. Because they have 10 guys who can play the game, and that's what they need to pressure other teams for 48 minutes. It was once 32-31 Sonics, but a 12-point run by Seattle until that tip-in. Yeah, they give it to Hammonds. Hammonds and Hastings were both there because the official score figured that Hammonds was the one who could get over the rim. This will not count. It's the travel against Askew. You may have noticed we haven't seen Benoit Benjamin as of yet, also on the Sonic Club, but he is basically, at this point, a forgotten man. He is dropped now to actually the 11th man on this squad. And sees very little playing time. Hammonds baseline. There's Hastings making that happen. He was sandwiched between Askew and Pierce, and it goes off of Pierce and out of bounds. 4:19 left in the second quarter. It was tied at 24 after one. But now the Sonics, on the strength of their trapping defense, lead it by 11. Late pass by Hastings, pointed out by Tom Hammonds. And the foul inside against Seattle. It goes against Derek McKee.
But with Hastings in the game, it gives the Nuggets a little more size to look over the double team and find the cutters. And that time Hammond, strong as the basket, gets a nice pass, and he'll get 2 free throws.
Size and the savvy of 12 years, 11 years in the NBA. Dave McMillan is back in and Askew leaves. Tommy Hammonds, when he came out of Georgia Tech coach Bobby Clemens says this is the hardest worker he had ever seen. 9th pick in the draft by Washington, but never made it with the Bullets. Last year traded midseason to Charlotte for Rex Chapman, but had a groin injury, so did not play in Charlotte until this year. And he played 19 games and then was let go by Alan Bristow. And now certainly getting his chance as Bernie Bickerstaff pulled out another slump. Is Tommy Hammonds down the road, another Reggie Williams. There's another one drafted by Bernie Bickerstaff, Sean Kemp. It raised a lot of eyebrows. Kemp, who never played college ball, picked late in the first round. They took a shot, and now he is the foundation of this franchise. As LaFonso Ellis is quickly becoming of the Nuggets franchise. Dikembe Mutombo is back in. Dikembe has not taken a shot yet in the game. Scott Hastings goes out. Nice stint for Hastings. 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. The Nuggets have shown that they have such an arsenal of young players, offensive players, that Mutombo is now easing into his role as a rebounder, a shot blocker, an intimidator on the defensive end, and actually starts the offense on that defensive end. And there he is, fighting through traffic right on cue. Crowd wants to travel, and now Jackson being held by McKee and Payton. 2 men on Jackson, making it really difficult for Rush to maneuver. This foul is against Ricky Pierce. He has his second personal foul. Reggie Williams high for the Nuggets with 11. Ellis has 9 for Seattle. Eddie Johnson off the bench has 4 points, while Ricky Pierce, who burned the Nuggets last time here, has been relegated to 1 field goal. Marcus Liberty. The Nuggets struggling from the foul line.
The reason the Sonics compress so much and utilize pressure defense, the 2 guys that are 6'10", and McKee and Kemp, are going to really run. 2 great athletes.
11 points for Ellis. The Nuggets are now 2 of 7 from the foul line in the first half. Cutting inside is Pierce. Worked down by Ellis. Hammonds Page. Ahead it goes to Liberty. Too far ahead. And the Nuggets turnovers now climb to 12 in the first half. Robert Pack with the encouragement. Gene Little's putting Pack in. Chris Jackson seeing double right now. Wherever he turns, there's two Sonics in front of him. Feel maybe the speed of Pack can beat them down. 2.5 left in the first half. Page being cagey against MUTUMBO. Brings him outside. 6 seconds to shoot. Kemp and Payton. And there's MUTUMBO sweeping the boards, but he is hit. And that's number 3 on Shawn Kemp. And there's his reaction. I think he almost fouled you Evans right there.
But not a good foul for Kemp to make. He's telling Evans, no way, I got all ball. But that's one he'd have been better served just to let go.
Shawn Kemp struggling on the night that he made his first All-Star team. Shawn Kemp, 3 personal fouls. He's 3 of 10 from the field. Denver with the ball, trying to close in a little bit. They're trailing by 9. Even a question of whether he would play in that game, because the night before he had twisted his ankle against Sacramento. The enthusiasm, and has all the makings of a great one. 13 points for Ellis. The Nuggets now moving to within 7. McMillan with a fake on Hammond. 6 seconds to shoot for Seattle. In traffic, and he is fouled. Pac-10 Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Struggled his first couple of seasons, a la Chris Jackson. And now emerging here in his third, a la Chris Jackson. 1.5 left in the half. Plummer walks right into a double team. And the Nuggets are really being undressed in this game by the Seattle defense. But Plummer goes up against the smaller Payton, who beats him. Payton. 12 points for Gary Payton. 9 in the second quarter. And there is the improved touch from the outside, which he really did not have the last couple of seasons. And hitting that outside shot has opened up the penetration for Payton. Robert Pack watched by Page. George Karl will throw so many things at you. And Hammond spikes from the outside. Nice play off the bench for Hammond, who has 8. Worked down by LaFonso Ellis. Pack steps around McMillan. He's flying on a 3-on-2. To Hammonds, and Hammonds in double figures in the first half.
Great decision there by Robert Pack. Right at the free throw line, he stops on the money, delivered to Hammond, and under the basket to protect the basketball.
Robert Pack is beating the defense back. Plummer comes out on Askew. Last year played for the Warriors. Page, left-hander, and the Nuggets looking for the last shot.
If you want him to shoot, nice defense by the Nuggets, and they'll have Michael Cage shoot that shot all night.
So Denver can take it in the locker room, only trailing by 6. They were once down by 13 in this second quarter. Pack will get to the foul line. Get back as soon as possible. He'll have that right wrist re-examined tomorrow. And if things are okay, Mark can, you may even see him this weekend. Stitt comes in for the final seconds. Now, the good and the bad of that foul, the good news is it gives Pack an opportunity to score 2 points from the foul line to get the Nuggets to within 6. But the bad, since Gene Littles now sets up defensively, he knows the Sonics now have 8 seconds to get these 2 points back. Pressure by the Nuggets. And quickly by is Payton. Oh, my! He'll get the 2 back and 1 more. Just by a point on that one. Well, nobody hits it. And that is he leads going into the second half. It's a 9-point advantage now for Seattle. Chris Jackson, 2 of 9 in the first half, held to 4 points. Liberty in the backcourt with Ellis, MUTUMBO, and Williams up front. Williams guarded by McMillan. He's the stopper for Seattle on defense. 2 seconds to shoot. Ellis lets it fly. Swish.
And again, one of the advantages of having a guy like Alfonso Ellis who has an inside game is when you get in trouble, he also has the ability to pop outside, alleviate the pressure, and knock down the jump shot.
McMillan, who's essentially a point forward a la... And now the conversation, because this could be on Reggie Williams. It is, so Reggie quickly gets himself into trouble. 40 seconds into the second half has picked up his 4th.
First team foul.
And that's where a lot of the offense is coming. The Sonics work it inside, and they accomplish getting Williams his 4th personal foul right off the bat here in the second half. And now the change will be made. Brian Smith for the Nuggets. Came up with the feet to Gary Benson. MUTUMBO is looking for his first shot. Won't get it there. And it's in play. Clean block and a save. Nathan McMillan, who wears so many hats with this team. John Kemp. Line drive jumper. Kemp, it's only his 4th field goal of the night. But Seattle now leads it by 9. Minute and a half into the 3rd quarter. Marcus Liberty, who is looking for his first basket of the night. That's the 3. Swish. He missed his first 7 shots this evening, then moved out. That was probably the problem. He was shooting from too close to the basket. His 8th three-pointer of the year in 18 attempts. Marcus Liberty showing a good eye from downtown. And like I said, within 6, the key gets the double team. Doesn't follow him. 10 points for Derek McKee, who is very content to be the complementary player. Guys like McKee and McMillan, Payton, now Askew, who all can play defense and relish the opportunity to do so. MUTUMBO, first shot, falls short. Almost goes off the head of MUTUMBO. He wasn't looking, could have grabbed it. It was last touched by Ellis. 58-50. The Sonics, Payton tries to beat the Nuggets back. 2.5 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Payton. Kemp sliced, and who is right now back in the Nuggets locker room. And the last we saw of Dan, he was sleeping on the trainer's table with the stomach flu. The Nuggets will charter tonight after this game on their way to Los Angeles in the game tomorrow night against the Lakers. Nuggets back home Friday night against Doug Moore and the 76ers. And it's another turnover. Chris Jackson, who is the Nuggets' top ball handler, but not tonight. The Sonics are really doing a job on Jackson. For every turn, there's at least 2 Sonics on it.
You got to come healthy, too, Chris. The only player in the backcourt. The other Nugget players in the front court. McKinney had nobody to throw the ball to.
Well, maybe now it's Ricky Pierce's turn. Near steal again. The acceleration by Smith, and he gets only the 3rd field goal for Chris Jackson. He has 6 points. Starting inside is Pierce. Kemp with Jackson on him. Nuggets now scoring all over to get their defensive assignments. MUTUMBO this time rejects Kemp, and Denver has the ball.
That really is a pretty good defensive effort. The Nuggets trying to pick up their man, but at least running at the man with the basketball. They got caught in the switch a couple of times, but they've got MUTUMBO to back him up.
Nuggets have won 4 of their last 5. And it's on Smith trying to get the ball back. Second on Brian Smith. Nuggets turnovers continue to mount. Number 15. It's Payton in the backcourt with Pierce, McMillan, Kemp, and McKee up front. This is the starting 5 for the Sonics. McKee barrels in. At 6-10, makes that fake on LaFonso Ellis. And had clear sailing upstairs. 11-point lead for Seattle. Sonics looking for their 31st victory of the season against 15 defeated down. Saturday, it's Michael Adams and the Washington Bullets. Back-to-back home games at McNichols this weekend. Jackson there gets the foul, and it's number 3 on Gary Payton.
And I think Jackson did a smart thing there.
Behind Ricky Pierce of Seattle and Mark Price of Cleveland. Nuggets coaches trying to figure out some answers for this one to get this team back in the second half. Eight points now for Chris Jackson. The Nuggets have Reggie Williams on the bench with 4 personal fouls. Spreading out the floor, Seattle. Sonics trying to make a run at Phoenix in the Pacific Division. Brian Stiff goes upstairs for the rebound. Stiff in his 5th game back and turns it over. And he still has some conditioning to do. His foot feeling much better. There he is right now hawking Pierce. McMillan zigging and zagging, and they call a foul on the Nuggets.
Foul is on number 30, Marcus Liberty.
That's the high man for the Nuggets. McKee puts the shoulder down. McMillan for 2. That's McMillan in his 7th season out of North Carolina State, the captain of this team. And he is the Sonics' Bobby Jones or Michael Cooper if you're a Laker fan. That's what he does. He brings so many options to the floor. He's such a solid player, especially on the defensive end. MUTUMBO looking to get that shot off, but he's called for a 3-second violation. A long night for long Dikembe Mutombo. Gene Little is now working on the officials for Mutombo. 65-54 in favor of Seattle. As he goes to work against Ellis, Stiff helps out. There's the open man. It's awful for diving. Marcus Liberty and out of bounds.
It's a good passing team. That time Kemp, with no look, hits Pierce right in the face. Otherwise, Ricky Pierce has a layup. You really have an advantage when your big people can pass like the Sonics can.
And this is a team a couple of years ago they thought had a chemistry problem, selfish. That one counts. But George Karl has taught this club to play together, and they have found out they could win together. When he came here, he said he inherited a very talented team that was not doing very well. Everybody out for themselves, looking for their own stats, and he has really molded a team. Liberty for 3. Marcus Liberty scorching from downtown where he's hit now 2 straight. But McMillan sweeps in to get 2 of those back.
And it got out because Liberty, after he took the shot, McMillan just released and was down court for the Nuggets.
Liberty fakes the 3, so he gets a little more room. And his foul. They had to respect the potential 3-point shot of Marcus Liberty, and he swept by in the baseline.
I think, again, Marcus, when he takes the ball to the basket, is at his best. He's a very, very quick jumper at times around Kemp and foul running away.
Second personal foul on Nate McMillan. He stays on the floor. Liberty now starting to open things up after missing his first 7 shots of the game. Now has 7 points all here in the 3rd period. Hammond replaces Mutombo. Once again, Nuggets go to the smaller, quicker lineup. Eight points for Liberty. Trying to key a Nugget comeback. Sonics lead it by 10. 5:45 left in the 3rd. Or 10th, the touchback. To McMillan.
Again, we talked about the ability to pass of the big man. Kemp with the left hand, the touch pass. Stiff, just for a second, backs up to help. then realizes I've got to get back to McMillan, but it's too late. McMillan is all the way down in the paint and hammers with the foul.
Last few games for the Sonics, McMillan had 11 assists against Detroit Sunday. He had 11 rebounds, 8 assists against Washington Saturday. He had 3 steals in each of those games. The game before that against New Jersey had a huge steal and a layup in the closing seconds to force it into overtime. Those are the kind of things that Nate McMillan does for his team. Stiff. He has been beaten on several occasions by the tough defense of Seattle, but this time it's McMillan who's called on the foul. So Brian Stiff getting an education tonight. What he would like to get is some help on the floor.
The education is you have to try to pass the basketball before the double team gets there.
And he had Hammonds open. First few games back for Stiff since the broken foot back in the early weeks of the season. And against Dallas the other night, he hit a stuff and then hit a jumper, and that kind of got him going again. Still working to get back into the playing shape we saw him when he left. And also, he's the majority of confidence. Coming back, going 3 games without scoring, even though in minor time. 2 seconds to shoot. Pierce. And it's Stiff over the back of Payton. Hustling out is Chris Jackson. Weaving traffic. Intercepted by McKee. McMillan looks to save. He can't get it, but McKee does the job. Long and lean, staying with moving Chris Jackson.
And an illustration again of the athletic ability and timing of Derek McKee. Keeps his body on the side of Jackson, takes away the angle, the right hand sends it out of bounds.
And Chris was a man of many moves. That's one guy, rare one guy, he wasn't able to fake out. Nuggets have 5 seconds to shoot. Jackson makes the move. KEMP will get them this time as the shot clock goes on. The Sonics, monsters inside. The block shots by McKee and KEMP, and the crowd goes wild.
And the defense of Payton forces Jackson to take off a little bit before he wanted to, and if it's not McKee, it's KEMP.
4.5 left in the third quarter. Sonics by 11. KEMP practicing for the slam dunk contest. I don't know if he could use a defender in the slam dunk contest. Hammonds almost put it in. Now it's Cage. Ahead to Gary Payton. Payton has McKee on the wing. Jack Neese signals traveling violation against Derek McKee, the 6-year veteran out of Alabama. I guess we'll put it in play. Eddie Johnson trying to check in for the Sonics, but he'll have to wait. Nuggets pace very slow. Nuggets at their best when they're running, but they're playing on the home court of a team who's at their best when they're running. Jackson finds liberty, and MUTUMBO smashes it home. Well, Dikembe has hit every shot he's taken tonight. That was it. With the friendly rim. 7 points now for Ricky Pierce. He's been held in check. That's the good news. Liberty through. There's MUTUMBO reeling it in, but dribbling it out.
Kind of good-looking shot. It seems like every shot has been a tough one or contested.
They probably feel as if there's 6 or 7 Sonics on the floor. MUTUMBO reels that one in. Dikembe with 9 rebounds in the game. Pack nearly stripped by KEMP. Pack accelerates. Open man MUTUMBO.
That is a good shot. Robert Pack, nice penetration, and MUTUMBO all by himself.
Nuggets get it under double figures, trailing by 9. 2.5 to go. There's Jackson watching Payton. KEMP bangs in that Hammond. Page, Gillespie. Ripped down by MUTUMBO. Jackson down court to Smith, who barrels in on Payton. And the Nuggets trying to make a move. Smith's first basket of the evening. 73-66.
It starts with pretty good rotation by the defense, which forces Michael Cage again to shoot the outside shot. That's what the Nuggets want.
Eddie Johnson. And at the baseline, it's Pack who goes high. Pack weaving against Payton. And if it does,
It would generate some fairly sufficient fast break.
And right now the Nuggets with Robert Pack and Chris Jackson on the floor. Perhaps take a little of the ball handling pressure off of Chris Jackson to affect his shooting. He's hit only 3 of 12 from the field tonight. 6 points to Robert Pack. Yeah, the Nuggets now have closed the gap to 5. A minute 39 left in the third quarter. And Gary Payton is on the bench with 4 personal fouls. McMillan being hawked there by Jackson. 7 seconds to shoot. McKinney, who generally takes over in these situations. There's 27 points and 21 in the second half. Did the Nuggets win last time here, early January, when the Sonics eked out a 108-104 win. 16 points for Derek McGee. He averages 15 a game. There's the arithmetic at the tail end of the third quarter. Nuggets spread out. Robert Pack takes a look. He had Jackson on one side. He has Smith on the other. 8 seconds. Smith, with a little more confidence, goes in. MUTUMBO, smashed by Derek McGee.
To beat people with that quick first step.
MUTUMBO getting into the game here in the third quarter. Plagued by fouls in that first half. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by 6 rebounds, 3 personal fouls in 12 minutes. He has 6 points here in this third quarter. The Nuggets again within 5, and the Nuggets showing the Sonics some pressure. And the Sonics showing the Nuggets how to beat it down. Oh, there's the steal by Pack, and it goes off of Nate McMillan and out of bounds. The Sonics beat the pressure back, but then swing the ball outside and get in trouble.
Well, Michael Cage makes a bad decision here, and Robert Pack gets into the passing lane, and the defense of the Nuggets, they've turned it up a couple of notches with the pressure defense in the third quarter.
A basket here. It's a 3-point game. Jackson wheels in, rises, and it's ripped down by Askew. One of those nights for Chris Jackson. Wide open. MUTUMBO and Cage, and the Cage. Closing seconds of the third quarter. Nuggets looking to make it 5 out of 6, and will really raise more eyebrows if they win this one tonight. 8 seconds to shoot. Hammond stops, turns. Nice break. Eddie Johnson takes it all the way. And there it leaves the Nuggets now with 11 seconds to get those 2 back. Packer could get it up in a hurry. Getting a little risky. 3 seconds to shoot. And Hammond cannot control. Length of the court. And Smith bats it away. Oh! What a run for those points. 9/10 of a second to go. And I think they will to win on the road. Seattle putting themselves in a position that they can do it here in the fourth quarter. Gary Payton on the bench with 4 personal fouls for Seattle. He's the trigger man for the Sonics. It's poked back out to McMillan. Runs into Jackson. No foul. We start the fourth quarter. Packer, Jackson, Ellis, MUTUMBO, and Williams is back in for Denver. Start out the third quarter with 4 personal fouls. Page, gift wrap by Eddie Johnson. A rare assist by Johnson. And the first basket, I think even a rarer basket by Cage. Cage has more rebounds than points this year. Pack makes the fake, flies inside. knocks it away. Williams, he climbs on McKee and draws the foul. And that's the third foul on Derek McKee. So it doesn't take too long to get Reggie Williams into the throws thing.
A nice job by Reggie Williams as he takes it right to Derek McKee.
Back on the other play, keep an eye on Chris Jackson. He makes the post.
May have twisted his ankle there a little bit. But Williams right here takes it to McKee. Doesn't give him an angle to block the shot. Can't get it to drop, but that's what you have to do.
12 points now for Reggie Williams. Marcus Liberty is in. Chris Jackson gets a seat. Doesn't look to be hobbled. Just getting a rest. Williams in the last 9 games, 22 points per game, scoring 54% from the floor. He's hit all 4 foul shots tonight. He has raised his foul shooting after a slow start up to 80%. Dana Barros, who's in for the first time in 8 games after an injury, coming off the injured list, in a crowd and in there for just too long. 3 seconds on Eddie Johnson. Barros strained his left calf. And he has just been reactivated by George Charles. Squirting by is Pack. And I guess with Pack, Williams, Liberty, MUTUMBO, and Ellis. Ellis goes to work on Eskew. Thanks.
Good job there by Ellis. Made Eskew with a quick hand miss. Eskew tried to get it out of his hand before Ellis could get over his head. Didn't quite catch it.
Here's the steal. And coming out, Williams and Johnson collide, but it will be against Reggie Williams.
Foul number 34.
Reggie Williams just can't get going. That's his 5th foul, and now Reggie is irate.
I really thought Eddie Johnson was tackling Reggie on the way down. That didn't look. Take a look at it. Watch Reggie Williams as he gets the block.
Unless the foul was there.
I don't think so. I think it was called on the tackle, and they got Reggie instead of Eddie.
Well, Gene Littles and Mike Evans are staying with Reggie Williams with a 5 foul. Rejected by MUTUMBO. Pack dives with Johnson this time. And this one goes against Eddie Johnson.
And this may be the makeup call. Good defense here by MUTUMBO on the weak side. Askew has a knock almost out of bounds. And again, that's why Kempe is there. That's close to goaltending. The foul on Eddie Johnson as Pack fights for the basketball.
Pack races it down into the hands of MUTUMBO. 2 minutes into the 4th quarter. And the Nuggets an opportunity to get it to within 3, and that's what Marcus Liberty does right there. Marcus Liberty, scoreless in the first half, has hit for 10 in the second half. It's a 3-point game. The Nuggets doing it to the Sonics again. Last time here, came back in the 4th quarter. Eddie Johnson. 18 points for Johnson. Johnson helping the Sonics stay afloat. Would you believe the Nuggets with 19 turnovers heading into the 4th quarter here in Seattle, but still very much in the game. And coming alive in the second half, KEMP MUTUMBO. 81-78. Seattle by 3.
That was a pretty good catch by MUTUMBO off the Pack pass.
The only teams they've lost to in 21 games at home have been the Bulls and the Spurs. MUTUMBO reels another one in. 14 rebounds for KEMP MUTUMBO. And making the difference here in the second half. Ellis, fadeaway. MUTUMBO to the rebound. MUTUMBO taking control. Gets out of there in time. Williams run into by McMillan. Kempe putting the ball on the floor. Williams can't hold on. He's claiming he was fouled. Reggie Williams wondering what has to happen for a call the other way. And when in trouble, George Karl goes to Derek McKee. 81-78. The Sonics now clinging to the lead over the Nuggets. 8:20 to go. Sean Kemp, he penetrates, dishes off, rejected by Liberty. Stuffing Eddie Johnson.
That good help defense again. Stiff slides over. Kemp with the pass, and Liberty just tomahawks the block out of Eddie Johnson's hand.
8:16 on the clock. 10 seconds for Seattle to shoot. McMillan being dogged by Pack. Slicing in is Eddie Johnson, but right now he's being hawked by Sid. McMillan, nice move, and the shot clock goes off, and he reaches in to get it back. Wide open is McKee. Even wider open with Cage. 83-78, the Sonics by 5. 7:50 left in the fourth quarter. Ellis going to work. Foul number 4 on Sean Kemp, and you are seeing the development of a classic matchup down through the years.
Watch the drop step that Ellis will use with the left foot there. Kemp thinks he's going to go baseline. Didn't quite get over. That's a terrific job by a young guy realizing, actually two young guys, but in this case, Ellis realizing that Kemp didn't quite take the bait, didn't slide for it, and draws a foul.
Sean Kemp, 23 years old. If he had gone to college, this would be his senior year. Said he's a 4-year NBA veteran and an all-star. One more shot for LaFonso Ellis. Tom Hammonds replaces Dikembe Mutombo. Mutombo goes out with the 8 points and the 14 boards. And a big reason the Nuggets have come back. A rarity. Ellis misses a 2 from the line. 17 points for LaFonso Ellis with 8 rebounds. And now the Sonics with an opportunity, leading by 5 to extend it. And just as Derek McKee is Mr. Dependable for George Karl, there is a guy who down through the years will become Mr. Dependable for the Nuggets. That's the man they put on Derek McKee. Now Smith is on Eddie Johnson, but on the switch, the steal by Ellis. Ellis busting out for the Nuggets. Into the hands of Pack. Pack picking up speed. And back the other way goes McMillan. Mutombo is back in after the brief rest. The Sonics now with a little breathing room, 7-point lead with just under 7 minutes to go. George Karl hustles Gary Payton back in the lineup. Robert Pack, Marcus Liberty, with Williams, Hammond, and Mutombo. And a very acrobatic shot by Marcus Liberty, making a major contribution in the second half. Shut out in the first half, 0 for his first 7 shots, but he now has a dozen points here in the second half. 5 point lead for Seattle. Nuggets looking for a crucial stop here. Hammond. Williams playing with 5 personal fouls. Passing caution to the wind. Pack. Liberty quickly in trouble as he's double teamed. It's off of Seattle and out of bounds. The Nuggets do not have a second to think when they get the ball because they are being swarmed under by Sonics.
Derek McKee here put the ball on the floor against the double team, and Reggie Williams has very, very quick hands. McKee, if he kept that ball above his head, would have been all right, but as soon as it hits the floor, you've got hands everywhere.
Chris Jackson's back in, replaces Pack, who goes out with a 6 point. The combo in low. Topped on by several Sonics. They'll say it was McKee who hit him. 4 fouls on McKee, 4 on Kemp, 4 on Payton.
Well, this is a good pass by Chris Jackson. And the Sonics get caught in the switch, and you can see Mutombo has McKee back all the way under the basket. And take your pick on the foul.
McKee watches Mutombo at the line. A 66% foul shooter. Why is Mutombo having the success in the second half that he didn't have in the first, outside of the fact that he had the foul difficulty?
Well, I think the Nuggets have been a little more aware of Dikembe and trying to really a concerted effort to get the basketball to him. And I also think Dikembe's been a little more active here in the second half.
9 points now for Mutombo. 14 rebounds for Dikembe. And it's a 4-point game halfway through the fourth quarter. McKee takes his eye off of the ball. for three. Spares goes Reggie Williams. And off and running from the Nuggets from McKee now. Stops Williams at midcourt. Again, the concerted effort to get it to MUTUMBO. And this, my friends, is a 2-point game. Here's steal by Williams. Payton from 20. One down by Liberty. And the Nuggets now with a chance to tie it. Sensational comeback by Denver. Trailed by as many as 13. They could take the lead. A 3-point shot for Reggie Williams. Gary Payton twisting. Johnson calling for the ball.
Reggie Williams
on there.
Gary Payton cracked heads. Both of them shook up a bit.
Payton, he had to watch out for MUTUMBO. He changed that shot. Fast break. Liberty coast to coast. And the foul on Eddie Johnson. And the sitting ovation from the Nuggets bench.
Marcus Liberty sees Gary Payton behind him and takes it right to the basket. Eddie Johnson, never known for his defense, there with the foul. And Nuggets have really done a nice job playing defense. The run and jump, they switched everything. They double-teamed the basketball where they can, but they have not hit the free throws the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Nuggets are 17 of 26 from the foul line. Now 17 of 27. Marcus Liberty, the last road game, 20 points, 13 rebounds against Utah. And helping the Nuggets back, although missing out on an opportunity to tie the game. 85-83. Sonics clinging to the lead. Down to 4.5 minutes to go. McMillan picked up by Liberty. 4 on the shot clock. 3 on the shot clock. Liberty out-jumps Kemp. And the Nuggets, again, a chance to tie. Or takes the lead. Got it! Marcus Liberty downtown for the 3rd time in the second half. He misses the 2 foul shots, but makes good. He hits the 3. He doesn't tie the game, but gives Denver the lead. 4 minutes on the nose to go. Kemp pulls his way inside. Blocked by MUTUMBO. Nuggets off and running. Jackson takes a look. Williams takes the 3-pointer. Liberty for 3. And Kemp scores. Back the other way comes Seattle. 86-85. The Nuggets with a marvelous turn of events here in the second half. Pierce away by MUTUMBO. It's a 3-on-2. Williams. What's the try? MUTUMBO smashes it in, and he in turn is smashed and fouled. Reggie Williams gets it inside the MUTUMBO. High fives all around. The Denver Nuggets have quieted the crowd. They've turned a 13-point deficit into a 3-point lead, maybe 4 when we come back. Playing great basketball. They've won 8 in a row at home. And now trying to get to the next phase. MUTUMBO through the crowd. 14 points for MUTUMBO. 16 rebounds. He was scoreless in the first half.
And now you got to figure McKee and Kemp are going to get the ball for the Sonics.
3:15 to go in the 4th quarter. McMillan dishes it off. Kemp buries it. And he is fouled. The foul is on MUTUMBO. His 4th.
That's a great pass by Nate McMillan. MUTUMBO shows on the pick and roll. Kemp throws it down. You think he's excited? The Kemp fan, nice shot, my friend.
17 points for Kemp. Kemp has 5 personal fouls. He's the guy who got MUTUMBO last time down. Nuggets with Jackson, Williams, Liberty, MUTUMBO, and Hammond. Alfonso Ellis will be coming in shortly. MUTUMBO puts it on the floor, weaves in. Kemp scoops it ahead to McMillan. Sonics looking for the lead. Johnson. Is it me, or do you feel that we're in the playoffs tonight? That is the atmosphere here in Seattle. The Sonics 5 straight points, and they reclaim the lead. There's the arithmetic. Will be better. Flu is having a hard time with all this noise in this place. Jackson dishes it off MUTUMBO. Gets to the foul line. MUTUMBO is the ticket here in the second half. Let's see who the foul's on. And that is it for Sean Kemp.
Kempe has 2 fine catches in the second half. You can see the ball knocked away. There's the foul on Kemp.
And not a real smart foul by Kemp, who has the 5 fouls before that play, right on the arm of MUTUMBO, and he is gone for the night.
Okay, those are 2 plays that 7-footers, more times than not, will not come up with the basketball. MUTUMBO twice in the second half has made difficult catches of passes.
16 points for Kemp as he goes out. 10 rebounds. MUTUMBO looks to tie it with this shot. He'll look to tie it with his next shot. 4 of 6 from the line. 14 points, 16 rebounds. And again, showing you a little more of his versatility offensively, making the moves against the scrappy, tenacious defense of the Sonics. Makes 1 and 2 is enough to knot it up at 90. 2:25 in the ball game, and once again here in Seattle, the Nuggets and Sonics come down to the final minutes. Eddie Johnson, the scoop. Page keeps it alive. One time he led the NBA in rebound. Johnson fakes the 3, watched by Ellis. 15 seconds to shoot. McMillan and the team always in there in crunch time for Seattle. But they'll have to do it now without Kemp, who's just fouled out. 5 seconds to shoot. Johnson toes on the line. Williams sweeps it away for the Nuggets. Denver now with the ball. Tied at 90. And the clock ticking down. 1:41 to go in the 4th quarter. Williams in trouble. Jackson comes out. 5 to shoot. Jackson shadowed by Johnson. Goes for 3. Chris Jackson from downtown, as he's done so many times before in crucial situations. And he gives the Nuggets that 3-point lead. Taking on the 6'8" Eddie Johnson. And the Sonics lose it. Look at the Nuggets bench. And look at the Sonics bench. Now closer to panic. Denver's players having a difficult time sitting down to watch the end of this game. Gary Payton is in. Full court pressure. This is it. Chris Jackson, another big shot. And nothing but net over 6'7" Eddie Johnson. Here's Liberty. Big shot, pulls too hard. But the Nuggets are up there fighting. And there is Nate McMillan getting the rebound in front of Ellis and MUTUMBO. 1 minute on the nose. Sonics on their home floor, trailing the Nuggets by 3. McMillan for 3. Cage set for the rebound. Another shot. Payton. There's the team. The Nuggets leaving the Sonics open in 3-point land. And maybe that's a good reason why. Was saved incredibly by the Sonics. Finding many lives. 30 seconds to go. Nuggets by 3. McKee battled up this time by Williams. And fouled. And that is 6 on Reggie Williams to Liberty, Hammonds, and Ellis. McMillan will inbound. He's on the floor with Payton, Pierce, McKee, and Eddie Johnson. The guns are on the floor for the Sonics. Pierce taking it in on pack. This time they go for 2, and they miss it. Liberty with the rebound, and he is fouled. Fouled by Eddie Johnson.
For Seattle, number 44, Michael Gage.
MUTUMBO is back in for the defensive end, and Pack comes out. This foul shot for Liberty at least puts the Sonics 2 two-point field goals behind. And he gets it high off the back of the rim. Put it inbound. Jackson and Pack with Hammonds, Ellis, and Liberty. McKee sets the pitch. Payton goes in. He's there, but misses. And there's Eddie Johnson for the foul. And another. Can the Nuggets get the rebound? Yes, Tom Hammonds. And it's a foul by Nate McMillan. And ladies and gentlemen, that clears the Coliseum. Because as the whistle was blown, 11 points for Tom Hammonds and some of the icing on the cake. Look at the smiles on the Nuggets bench. Marcus Liberty comes out. And Marcus Liberty, who was invisible in the first half, comes through big in the second half, leading the Nuggets comeback charge, hitting the 3 3-pointers and ending up with 16 points all in the second half. The Nuggets on their way to winning their 3rd game on the road. And this is after almost pulling one out in Utah last week. Final seconds, Payton cannot connect. Eddie Johnson, that's how things are going for Seattle, and that is it. A major upset going to Seattle, where the Sonics have the best record at home. This Denver Nuggets down by 13 points in the second half. Rally from